What if I told you that the simple principle behind the power to completely change your life forever lies in understanding this? Moreover, this great transformation is not related to a strategy that requires a specific technique or action. This principle is the mirror principle. This principle is directly related to the person you want to be. For example, if your dream is to become a millionaire, you must first build that identity internally. While you still see yourself as inadequate, unsuccessful, or worthless, you cannot create lasting abundance in the external world. Otherwise, you will keep trying new methods, clinging to different things, and eventually end up back at the same point. The result remains unchanged because the reflection has not changed. If you truly master this principle, everything you touch can turn to gold. However, this requires you to confront your inner demons, your reflections, and perhaps the aspects of yourself you don't like. The parts of yourself you avoid seeing, the fears you suppress, the internal conflicts. The mirror shows you everything. But if you are truly ready for change, this principle can become a door for you. In this video, I will share with you a very powerful exercise that I still use in my own inner practice, and together, we will uncover the secret behind the mirror principle. Set aside time until the end, because the lies about reality that have been told to you up until now will shake you up a bit. Before moving on to the video, write 777 in the comments. Let's start with the most important principle of reality. Reality is a reflection of the relationship you have with yourself, your environment, and life itself. Everything you see outside is a kind of mirror of the thoughts, beliefs, and emotions you carry inside. So what does this mean exactly? Think about it this way. Let's say you want abundance in your life. Maybe you want to be a millionaire, but deep down your relationship with money is filled with statements like, "I can't make money. I'm not smart enough. Money is hard for me to come by." Then life will keep showing you that belief over and over again. The people, opportunities, or obstacles you encounter will all seem like proof of that inner thought, because reality picks up on your inner message and reflects it back to you. At this point, you must remember a very important truth. The external world is merely a reflection of our inner world. In other words, whatever frequency we are on internally, the external world responds at that same frequency. Unfortunately, many people today are not even aware of this mirror. Caught up in technology, social media, and the never-ending hustle and bustle of life, people have become disconnected from their inner voice, their inner guidance, their true self. Yet we have forgotten something we once knew, our inner wisdom. Now, we will discover together the 4 fundamental keys that will lead you back to this forgotten wisdom. These keys are tools you can use to reshape reality. Just like in the law of attraction, we start from the idea that reality is a mirror. But most people try to manipulate this mirror from the outside. However, the first basic rule is this. The mirror of reality reflects 2 things. 1. Your relationship with yourself. 2. Your relationship with the world. So if you see yourself as worthless, the world will present you with events that reflect this worthlessness. If you say, "I'm not good enough," reality will bring you scenarios that confirm this. The mirror always says, "Yes, you're right," because it's not an enemy. It's just a faithful reflection that confirms what you believe. And here lies the mistake most people make, trying to change the reflected image. Yet true transformation begins by changing the original image you present to the mirror. Change the inner image, and the outer reflection will change accordingly. The mirror principle is similar to the moments when we try to influence someone. Think about it. When you directly tell someone, "Don't do that," they often end up doing exactly what they shouldn't. But if you explain why they shouldn't do it in an inspiring way, and sincerely share the possible consequences, then the person in front of you becomes truly open to listening and changing. This is the way to intervene in reality. Instead of forcing it directly, influence it indirectly through internal transformation. Because the mirror of reality reflects back not what you say, but what you believe. Whatever thoughts you carry about yourself, your identity, and the world, the mirror amplifies them. And please remember this is one of the most critical keys you can have to transform your life. Now let's get to the real question. How can we break this pattern? How can we change these deep patterns we reflect onto reality and consciously choose a new life? The answer is, you must consciously build your own identity and worldview. Because if you don't know who you are internally, the external world will continue to present you with random scenarios. To start, ask yourself this question: what do I want in the long term? For example, what do you want to be doing every day 10 years from now? What will excite you every morning? And while experiencing all of this, who am I becoming? What qualities and thought patterns do I have? These questions will bring you closer to your inner self. Then take one more step. How does that version of you see the world? How does the world feel to you while living that life? This will be your new worldview. Here comes a very powerful practice. Create affirming statements about the identity you want to be and the world you want to see. About yourself: I am valuable. I am a natural magnet for abundance because I carry the alchemist's touch within me. About the world works in my favor. Everything happens according to the divine plan and at the right time. When you repeat these statements every day, you are not only reshaping your mind but also your energy, frequency, and reality. Over time, you will notice that things that once seemed distant are gradually coming closer to you. And yes, perhaps the things you desire today still seem difficult or distant, but that doesn't mean you won't achieve them tomorrow. Every transformation takes time, practice, and patience. Respect your own process. But remember, surrendering to your fears distances you from the extraordinary. So don't postpone this exercise, because this work doesn't just change your life, it creates a revolution. And now we come to the second key. Everything we see in the mirror of reality is created with a delay. Why? Because in our inner world we can create an image instantly just by closing our eyes and imagining it. But the physical world, the third dimension, is dense. Matter by its very nature operates over time. Therefore, thoughts do not immediately transform into physical form. That is why the second key is this: you must remain committed to your new identity and new worldview for a sufficiently long period. You must continue to stay at that frequency to see their manifestation in reality. Think like the person you want to be. Feel like them. Look at the world through their eyes. And over time, your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs will align with reality. Because when you change, reality is forced to change as well. But here's an interesting phenomenon. When many people embark on this journey of transformation, they adopt a certain identity and cling to it tightly, expecting reality to respond immediately. They establish a new belief system, say, "This is who I am now," and begin to live in accordance with that identity internally. However, after some time, the results they expected never materialize. And this is where the trap that most people fall into begins. The mind says, if this were working, something would have changed by now, so I must not be doing it well enough. Maybe this path isn't right for me. And the person gradually loses their commitment to the identity they have created internally. Morale drops, hope diminishes, energy weakens. But at that very moment, when your mood is at its lowest point, something happens. The first results begin to appear. The universe sends you an answer. But this answer is based on the energy you sent out a few weeks or months ago. In other words, it is a reflection of your state of mind at that time, when you were still in good spirits and filled with hope. However, you are now on a different frequency, at a point where you doubt yourself and begin to lose faith. This positive development that comes your way carries the traces of your past, and because you cannot maintain that old frequency, reality begins to break down again. This cycle continues. You rise, you hope, then you fall because there are no results. The first results come as you fall, but you have already lost the frequency, and everything unravels again. This is a mirror wave, reality's delayed response to your inner states, and most people live unaware of this wave. One step forward, one step back, one moment of hope, one moment of collapse, and years pass, but since the inner core never stabilizes, the outer world also remains unchanged. That's why you need to understand this. Staying true to your new identity is not just for the days when you feel good. It's for the moments when you're in uncertainty, when you doubt, even when you're about to give up. Because it is in those moments that if you can remain true to your inner self, the real transformation begins. And now, we move on to the fourth key, which will take you to a much deeper level of awareness. This key perhaps explains the most subtle yet powerful aspect of this process. The mirror of reality does not reflect your thoughts. It reflects the essence of your thoughts. Let's clarify this further. Suppose you constantly complain, "I hate my job. These bills never end. My partner doesn't understand me. Why is life so difficult?" As you utter these phrases, you may be aware of your anger, but reality does not focus on your anger. It focuses on what your anger is directed toward, and it reflects that focus. When you say, "I hate my job," life presents you with even more unbearable working conditions. When you say, "I hate bills," it brings you new expenses. If you say, "My relationships are always challenging," look in the mirror and see, there are always people around you who challenge you. Reality expands not what you dislike, but what you think. Where your inner focus is, the outer world grows there. This is the fundamental difference between a scarcity mindset and an abundance mindset. The same life is a half-full glass for one person and a half-empty glass for another, and reality asks you which one you believe in. Therefore, the next step in transformation is this. Pay attention to everything you have. See the areas of abundance you may not even be aware of, the body you have, the struggles you've faced, and the challenges you've overcome in the past, the people by your side, the point you've reached today. As you focus on these, your mind begins to produce thoughts aligned with your new identity. And that is when the gap, the difference between your current state and the version of yourself you want to be, begins to close. Because focus directs energy, and energy shapes reality. This completes the third key. What you focus on grows. And now, as someone who has internalized this knowledge, I want to introduce you to the final and most powerful key, the mirror cycle. When you understand this cycle, you will learn not only to read reality, but also to consciously rewrite it. That is why reversing the mirror cycle means beginning to shape your life with your own hands. Most people start by observing external reality, and then create an internal image from it. This image naturally reproduces the same external reality, and the cycle continues, unnoticed, unquestioned. They drift through a life that begins with the same energy every morning, and ends with the same feelings every night. But at this point, you should stop and ask yourself, what do I wake up to every day? With what inner attitude do I start the day? With the residue of my past, or with the energy of the future? Because the first thought you form in your mind every morning is the first image you present to the mirror. Reality begins to take shape around this. If this first thought is the same old life, the universe's response will be the same. When you consciously choose your inner image, events do not begin to change immediately. It is very important to know this. This is a process of patience and consistency, because in the material plane, that is, in physical reality, transformation takes time. The image you send to the mirror first vibrates on the energy plane, then slowly begins to take physical form. That's why the first changes are very small and difficult to notice. But as long as you don't give up on the image you give to the mirror, that reflection will gradually become clearer. The biggest mistake you can make here is to expect the reflection to appear immediately, because this expectation puts you in a state of impatience, and impatience carries the frequency of "I don't have it right now." This frequency is reflected in the same way, and the outside world brings more lack. That is why living as if you already have it is not just an affirmation but a state of consciousness. It is feeling that something has changed inside you, even though everything is still the same. At this point, we should also mention another trap. People often confuse awareness with obsession. It is beautiful to observe reality with awareness, but constantly being on the lookout for, has it changed, or has it happened now, begins to divide your energy. The essence of the mirror principle is to move forward with observer consciousness. That is, you pay attention to what is happening outside, but you do not allow it to define you. You observe, you take notes, but you do not change your inner image. So what is this inner image? Simply put, it is the energy you carry throughout the day, the words you say to yourself, what you believe deep down, how you look at others, and what you expect from the world. The clearer and more consistent this image is, the faster and clearer the universe's mirror responds. If one day you say, "I am valuable," and the next day you say, "Maybe I'm not," This indecisive frequency produces scattered echoes in the universe, and you get scattered, unclear results. Instead, you must be decisive. Decisiveness means not compromising your inner frequency, even if the external reality has not yet changed. In this process, it is very important to celebrate small successes and notice the new reflections that are beginning to form, because this is the reprogramming of your mind. The mind seeks proof above all else, and this proof often comes in the form of tiny details. Someone treating you differently, everything going smoothly at work one day, an unexpected opportunity knocking on your door. These details are signs that your inner image is slowly seeping outwards. If you interpret these signs correctly, you begin to tell your mind, "Look, it's working." And this sentence lays the foundation for a new belief system. The mind begins to adapt to a new reality. The old cycle weakens, and the new cycle gains strength. As you continue this process with dedication, radical changes begin to occur in the external world. However, there is still one thing you need to be careful about. Even though you think you have changed internally, you may be unconsciously maintaining the old image. This happens very often, especially with repressed emotions, because sometimes we project a "I'm positive" image to the outside world, but deep down we are still struggling with feelings of worthlessness. This is where the mirror is very clever. It reflects not only your words but also your deep beliefs. Therefore, transformation must be not only mental but also emotional. You must be honest with yourself. What do you truly believe in? In which areas do you still carry internal resistance? Where do you still have the fear of what if it doesn't work out? Without confronting these issues, you cannot get a true reflection with a false image, because the mirror reflects not only the form but also the essence. And at this point, you begin to see the mirror principle not only as individual wisdom, but as universal wisdom. Mata's universal wisdom, because it is not only a tool for transforming your own life, but also a way to contribute to the world. As you raise your frequency, you begin to change not only your own reality, but also every area you touch. Everything you thought was stagnant is actually in motion. If you examine even a stone under a microscope, you will see molecules vibrating inside it. This is the nature of the universe movement. Everything vibrates, everything is a wave, everything is energy, and you are part of it. So what is your frequency? What vibration are you on? Are you positive? Are you negative? Are you calm? Are you tense? Are you close to hope or to exhaustion? All of these send a signal out into the world. How many times a day do you say, "I can't do it"? How many times do you sigh, "I can't manage this either"? How many times do you give up, saying, "It's always like this"? Each of these is a frequency. Each is a broadcast. Just like a radio station, whatever frequency you're tuned to, that's the broadcast you receive. If you're tuned to the complaint broadcast, you'll attract more reasons to complain from the outside. When you tune into the "I'm tired" frequency, the universe sends you more tiredness. When you say, "There are no right people around me," you really can't find the right people, because there's no resonance. Do you know what resonance means? It means being on the same wavelength. It is where your inner vibration meets the outside world. Harmony. Matching. Just like two musical instruments playing the same note. If your energy is low, high frequency, things will not recognize you. Existence, abundance, clarity, vision. These are all high frequency products. But if you're still clinging to old stories, still vibrating with your old identity, you're doomed to repeat the same cycles. The same kind of people, the same problems, the same disappointments. That's why external reality seems unchanged, because inner resonance is still old. And without resonance, there's no attraction. Without resonance, no new reflection will appear in the mirror. When you are hungry, that vision will find you. When you are ready, that job opportunity will find you. When you remain faithful to your transformation, the universe aligns with you. But this is not a one-sided game. When you truly change, when your frequency truly rises, life changes too. That's how clear it is. The mirror principle explains exactly this. Your outer world resonates with your inner world. So the world responds not to your prayers but to your energy. And this is one of the greatest truths that many people refuse to accept. Most people are still stuck in the old systems. I prayed so much, but it didn't happen. I wanted it so badly, but it didn't come. But no one asks what frequency was I on, because this world is an energy game, and whatever vibration you enter the game with, you get the corresponding response. When your energy level is low, your perceptions become blurred. When you reach a high frequency, clarity comes, and solutions come. Your mind clears, your heart expands, and even while you're trapped in that problem, you suddenly learn to see it from another angle. That's where the frequency breaks. The lock opens. So how do you maintain that frequency? This is where the mastery of the game begins. Because frequency is not a momentary leap, but an area that must be maintained with constant intention. It is easy to be positive for a day, but can you still stay centered when you receive 5 bad news in a row? If you can do that, it means you have learned to hold your inner power. And that's where the real mirror transformation begins. Because now you've started to transform not the image, but the sender yourself. The image will follow you anyway. Your job is simply to keep your energy steady. The rest is handled by the system. Reality dances with you. But you must take the first step. Remember, this world is not just for those who possess knowledge. It flows for those who can transform knowledge into energy. The fact that you are reading this is a sign. It is no longer time to hear knowledge, but to live it. And now it is up to you to choose this frequency, this intention, this alignment anew every morning. Because the mirror offers you a new opportunity every day. Every day you have the chance to ask, what vibration am I in today? And with every yes, the mirror begins to reflect a new reality. But this is only the beginning. Are you ready to delve deeper into this energy game? If you are, write "I'm ready" in the comments. Whatever you're feeling right now, pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and think about that dream, as if it's already happened. Really, as if it's already happened. You're living that life. You're sitting in that place. You've received that message. You've accomplished that task. You are living that moment. You are with that person in that place in that state. Now hold that feeling inside you and write it in the comments, as if your dream has already come true. Say, it happened, because here right now, you are choosing your frequency, and that frequency will shape you. When you start living according to these principles, your life begins to change completely. Friends, this is real. What I'm telling you are things I applied years ago and got results from. At first I was skeptical. It seemed ridiculous. But when I saw the first signs, it was incredible. The things I wanted didn't just come to me. They unfolded before me in ways I couldn't even imagine. That's why I'm sharing this knowledge with you now, because it works. As we look deeply into the mirror of reality, we discover an inner power that we have always overlooked. Everything we see around us is actually a reflection of our beliefs, our identity, and our worldview. And the secret of transformation is this: it is not enough to simply observe. You must create the image of who you want to be, and you must present that image to that mirror every day. Only then will the mirror of reality begin to respond, slowly in small steps, but certainly. Remember, this mirror is limitless. It only responds to the frequency you present. Like alchemists who turn lead into gold, we can also recreate life by transforming our perspective, our mind, and our energy. When we focus on what we have and what we want to be, we enter the vibration of abundance, and this vibration shapes reality like gold. Ultimately, this journey is not just about the external world, but about understanding and transforming ourselves, remembering our creative power, realizing that we came into this world to inspire, renew, and transcend our limits. I hope this knowledge serves as a guiding light on your life journey, and I hope that this awareness stays with you as you create the life you envision. If this video resonated with you in some way, if it touched you, please don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel, and share this message with a friend who needs it. Also, leave a comment below. What did you feel? What did you notice? Where did this journey begin for you? Thank you for being with me. Take care of yourself. And remember, this is just the beginning. Thanks again for watching and for joining me. Take care, and see you.